So we're starting the 66th verse of the 18th chapter, which is the most important verse, or kind of the essence. Right? So what Krishna is saying to Arjun in this verse is that Sarv Dharman Parityaja. He's asking Krishna to, he's saying, Krishna, don't be religious. That's what Krishna is saying to Arjun. Right? Parityag. So Parityag means completely give up. That's what the meaning of Parityag. So, but it becomes a bit of a contradictory statement because Krishna in the 4th chapter, he says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That I come for establishing dharma. So it becomes a bit of a contradiction. And earlier Krishna is saying, I'm here to establish dharma, and here he's saying, Sarv dharman parityaja. But here he's saying, forget that, forget all of that. So sometimes feel like, oh Krishna, why don't you make up your mind? What's going on there? So do you want me to follow dharma or give up dharma? So the way to understand it is that there is adharma, adharma. There is adharma, there is dharma, and there is paradharma. Okay? So adharma is the lowest, right? Going against what the dharma says. And there is dharma, people living their lives according to the Vedic knowledge. And then there is paradharma, it is beyond that. So Krishna is saying, don't just be religious. Don't be formal about it. Just follow rules. Don't just follow rules for the sake of it, but develop it in your heart. Right? Give me your heart. Absorption is needed. Be a lover of God. But that's the ultimate essence of bhakti. Okay? So you all must have heard that story that there were two men. They were working in a garden, and one of the guy was making a hole, and the other guy was filling the hole back up again. And there was this person sitting in the park just watching these two guys. And after some time, he goes and asks them, "What are you doing here?" They said, "Oh, we're planting trees." So what do you mean by that? He says, "Oh, we plant trees. One of us uh, makes a hole, the other puts a seed, and then the third one fills the hole back. But the guy who puts the seed is absent today. He's not come. So, but they still are doing this. So they're just doing their job mindlessly. So we should not be just ritualistic. That's what Krishna is saying. Like in Christianity, people go to the church and then they go and confess their sins, and then it seems as if they've just washed off all their karma. That's what they feel. And the next day again, they're going to go and do whatever they feel like. But it doesn't work that way. So not to be ritualistic. That's what Krishna is here. Right? So that's what Krishna means. Sarv dharman parityaja. Follow the paradharma. Right? So be spiritual. Don't be just a ritual. You have to put your heart in it. You have to put your spirit in it. Then it becomes spiritual. Right? Most of the religions are just having a shopping list. And we think that Krishna is a cosmic order supplier, right? Calling him in times of need only. But that's not what Krishna is asking us to do. When we go to Krishna, we should not ask, well, we can ask him, no problem. We should also go with a heart to thinking that what does Krishna want? That is the difference between like and love. When you like something, you use it for yourself. But when you love something, you take care of it, you nurture it. Similarly, when we love Krishna, we want to understand what his needs are. What does he want from us? But if we just like him, then we'll say, oh yeah, Krishna, give me this, give me that. So love means offering from a heart, from our heart. It's a service. That's what Prabhupada calls it, devotional service. So that's the most important verse here. Sometimes people, even I've heard people say that, oh, it's not sarv dharman. It should be adharman. So give up all the negative activities. That's what Krishna is saying. But that's not what it is. It's sarv dharman. Then Prabhupada has very clearly explained to us that all the varieties that Krishna has spoken about, give up all of them. Like, for example, Prabhupada highlights this. Knowledge of Supreme Brahman, knowledge of Super Soul, Varna Ashrama, this renounced order, knowledge of non-attachment, meditation, all that. So Krishna is asking us to give up all of that. So, yeah, that's the message to take from this verse. And Prabhupada saying, with faith and love, one should surrender unto him. Okay. Any thoughts or comments or questions around this point? before we jump on to the next verses. 67. Nothing there? Okay, that's fine. Let's go on. 67. It's this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Yes, this is an important verse. Sometimes people, it's a confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. People who have not, Prabhupada is saying, people who have not undergone the austerities of the religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, one who have not tended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality, or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. Right? So it's rare and precious. This knowledge is rare and precious. So Krishna is saying, don't tell this knowledge to those who are not austere, who are not devotees, who are not involved in service, or who are envious. So the point that we have to note here is that Krishna is saying that this confidential knowledge should not be told to others. Okay. Sometimes even a father does not disclose all the, a father might be a billionaire, but he won't go and tell all the details to their kids right away. He waits for them to grow up. Similarly, some people are lost in petty issues, trivial things. They end up envying Krishna. Krishna wants everyone to grow up. Once they have let go of their envy, they can also get it. Right now, people are not mature enough. So it's like, there's a saying, don't throw pearls towards a swine. So Krishna is the supreme jewel, but those who are not evolved will not take care of it, and they'll commit offenses. So purpose is not to hide from people, but to give it to them when they are mature. Therefore, there's a restriction. Reason is not to deprive people. It's just to stimulate them. Right? So, but then one more thing is that you have to understand is that now the question can come, okay, people go out and distribute books on the street, right? So what does that mean? So we have to understand that people will never get what is more than their adhikar. Even if you take a fourth grader and put him in 12th grade, he's not going to start learning and understanding that the stuff being taught in 12th grade. So when we give a book, we don't tell people that, oh, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, you have to love him. And we don't go into those confidential knowledge. Yeah, we tell them, it helps you get rid of stress and anxiety. See, it talks about karma, it talks about your rebirth and so forth. So to understand is that when we go out in the street, we give books, we preach to newcomers, we are not giving them the confidential knowledge, which is love of Krishna. That Krishna is the self-dharma, he's the supreme. That we don't give them right in the beginning, right? Because people might be coming from different backgrounds. If you just on the first day you meet somebody, you go and tell them, okay, hey, whomever you're praying, throw away all your deities from your house, only Krishna is supreme. That person will never come back to the temple again. So we don't give them the confidential knowledge. Other knowledge is okay to give them. That's why Krishna is using the word confidential knowledge. And Prabhupada also makes one more comment here, which I think is that. Without understanding Krishna from authority of a pure devotee, one should not try to comment upon Bhagavad Gita. It's the association, the mercy of the pure devotee that can help us understand the Bhagavad Gita. Now, many of you might have read Bhagavad Gita before coming to Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, but then it doesn't materialize. Right? There's so many versions of Bhagavad Gita before Prabhupada wrote this version. But that didn't make a revolution. It's not like millions and millions of people are taking up to Krishna consciousness. No. Because only it was coming from a pure devotee did that change happen. Okay, all clear about this verse?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for addressing that thing. In fact, I had this thought in my mind about then we distribute the book and we give the confidence. Thank you so much for addressing that. Prabhuji, but you also mentioned, right, even though they try to read this
Mm.
Bhagavad Gita, still they won't have that understanding. And the example that you gave of the fourth grader sitting in the 10th grade,
Yeah.
so that's what you're saying. Even though he reads that everything, the last this text 66 he reads, but he will not understand that piece.
Yeah.
He will not
So,
understand that you have to submit to the Lord and all that. That understanding is not gained.
it's not given to them. Yes. So yes, that's what Krishna is saying. First of all, we as devotees don't tell that confidential knowledge.
Yes.
Confidential knowledge being Guhyatamam Shastra, which Krishna has just mentioned, that I am supreme. Just leave everything and come to me. People will never understand that if the first day they walk into the temple and we tell them that. And secondly, yes, even if we tell them that, it's not their adhikar. They might not have adhikar to understand it. So it's both those aspects to understand. But then we don't know, right? We as people, we don't know what other person's adhikar is. So we don't go in that realm. So we just keep it in mind that we don't want to give them the essence right on day one. We don't know what their adhikar is. They might be very ignorant. They might be very elevated. So that's something we cannot judge, but we can surely make a discrimination on what we tell them when we meet them for the first time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
I
Krishna.
have a question regarding this particular verse.
Mm.
We know that we are here because of the envy that we carried, and life after life, we've been carrying that, and we are getting work in that again and again. So my question is that now we are in the process and we have taken up to Krishna consciousness. Does that mean that the envy that we carried is gone?
And so your question is that we had envy because of that we are here, but now because we are reading this and we are getting the confidential knowledge, that means our envy is gone. Is that what your question is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it doesn't mean that our envy is gone. It's just that our karma were good enough to come to a position where a self-realized soul could have mercy on us. Right? For example, when Narad Muni met those devotees in his mother's ashram, where her mother was working, he was not a self-realized soul. It was the mercy of those people that he got their self-realization. So it's not that your envy was gone. That's why you got this. That's why you're reading it. It's just that the mercy was there. There were some people who were so merciful that irrespective of it, they just showed you your mercy. And your karma was enough that you could come and start learning. But now in this process, you are giving up your envy. We are not free from envy as of yet. This process is doing that job of removing your envy.
Okay, right? So until and unless we reach the highest perfections stage, that envy will still be inherent in our system.
Well, Mari, the point to understand here is that we don't worry about envy. So I think when you were asking me the question about false ego, when I thought about it, it's the same principle. Our goal is not to remove false ego. That's not our goal is to develop love for Krishna. And as a side effect of that desire, all these things automatically go away. So we as devotees are trying to generate in our hearts a love for Krishna. And when that love starts coming in, when we open up our heart, Krishna comes and helps us clean that house, or like our heart, because our heart is full of so much trash in there.
Yes.
And by Krishna's mercy and my effort, whatever little I can put in, then that's the Cheto Darpana Marjanam process that we all are going through. Anartha Nivritti, right? We all are in Anartha Nivritti.
Yes. We see a lot of change within ourselves following this process. So I think you must be right in saying that, yes, with the process, that will automatically be gone and developed, whatever we need to develop.
Yeah, but right now we are not free of envy.
No. Yeah, of course.
That's not we are free. But in the process, we will be free. And even if you introspect a bit, you will be able to judge it. Like, okay, 5 years ago, where was I? I do this, and I always realize it's okay. I'm more tolerant now. Yes. I don't get angry on people and don't look down upon them. So all those things, they start to diminish as we grow in bhakti.
Yes. And then the attachments, also one thing that I've noticed, the attachments that you had previously slowly go away.
Yes, they go away. Yes, all the anarthas, they just keep going away. They reduce.
Yes.
And but what I was highlighting in the beginning when I was answering a question, our goal is not to get rid of envy. Our goal is not to get rid of false ego. Our goal is not to become perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is just to show Krishna sincerely. Krishna, even if we have this tiny molecule of desire to do loving service towards Krishna, Krishna grasps that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you ask, right, somebody asked Krishna, what was that? Brahma asked Krishna in the Bhagavatam, which canto was that? Was it the 10th canto? I think Brahma asked Krishna, Krishna, do you have any mercy left for others since you have given everything to Putana?
Yeah.
Brahma asked him the question. And
Yes.
Putana, just imagine Putana, right? She came to kill him.
Mm.
And but then she spared, but she came as a mother, and Krishna picked that up. She was full of faults.
Yeah.
Paundraka was, Paundraka was a person who imitated with Krishna. He used to dress like Krishna and everything.
Yeah.
And he was so ignorant that he started thinking his followers would just fool him and just say, oh, you are Krishna, you are the one, he's imitating you. And he started believing that, and he went to Krishna and said, oh, you give me all your whatever, these conch shell and all that you have, these are not yours, I am the right one. So he was also liberated. He got sarupya mukti.
Yeah.
So imagine people who are so fallen, they are getting Krishna's mercy. You, people like you who are sincerely putting an effort, why wouldn't Krishna give you his mercy? He is not waiting for us to be perfect. All he's looking for that sincere. So imagine Krishna finds the purity or the sincerity in Putana's heart. He finds the purity in Paundraka's heart. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't he find it in your heart, who's sincerely trying to connect with Krishna? So all this will go away. We don't worry about that. All this year,
Yeah. Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the process, and we have to follow, and
you have to
everything we
follow.
have to depend.
You
Yeah.
have to depend on Krishna. Yes.
And that is what it means to say that Sardan Paritej Mamik Ekam
Yeah.
Sharanam Braja.
Yeah, that's what it means. So leave everything. Obviously, adharma is the lowest, dharma is the second, comes somewhere in middle, and paradharma is beyond. So
Yes.
paradharma is to love Krishna. Krishna
Yes.
is saying, forget all what I have taught, all that dharma I taught you, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, varnashrama system. Forget all that. You just learn to love me,
Yes.
and I'll take care of everything. So this is very beautiful the way Krishna presents, and that's why when we connect Bhagavad Gita to Srimad Bhagavatam, we are able to relish Srimad Bhagavatam so much more because we
Yes.
see Krishna's statements coming to life in the Bhagavatam. Right? Putana's example, Paundraka's example. So all these examples, they teach us that, oh yes, that's what Krishna means by Sardarman Parityaja. That's what Krishna means about being sincere, about being humble. That's what he means. So all these examples, they teach us that Krishna is Sarvgrahi Janardhan. He just find out that tiny sincerity you have, and he'll take that and give you liberation.
Yes.
So that's the beauty of the whole process. Right?
Yes. I have yet to learn how to connect Srimad Bhagavatam to Bhagavad Gita. You very well connect the two together and give us the essence so nicely. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's very realistic. Whenever you read Bhagavatam, try to see, okay, where does Krishna say something similar in Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
And I assure you, your relishment level will go up multifold when you will see that.
Yes. Now I will try to do that way.
Yeah.
In fact, Prabhuji, I'm waiting for you to take our Srimad Bhagavatam class out one time. I'm just waiting
I'm going to start that, but probably later this year or next. But yeah, I have to start that.
Yes, Prabhu, that would be wonderful to read. Bhagavatam with you. It will really give us the whole picture. The way you explain, really, really amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, in my heart. Yes, Mataji, sorry.
So text 66, right? We just read. So Paradharma. So Prabhuji, we are doing the Vedi Bhakti, right? We are not even there where we do the Ragunuga Bhakti, or we are still Nitya Bhadhyara, we're not Nitya Siddha. So for us, even following Dharma, obviously, being a Grahastha, Paradharma is like too difficult for us, right, at this stage. So for us, what is the message in this? Obviously, we are trying to love God, love Krishna, but we become a little ritualistic at times, right? Because we have to do so much in that 24 hours. We have deities, we have to get up, you have to do japa, you have to serve Lord, you have to wake up the Lord. All that thing happens. Means you become mechanical because of too many things on your platter, and you want to do everything because you have taken that onus on you, right? So you want to do that, but you have taken that, you just don't want to just, so that bhava comes. But then it's not like the way we have in our acharyas or our spiritual masters or our Maharaj. They are like always in that mode of goodness, or in fact transcending the mode of goodness. So for us, paradharma is a challenge, right? Because I'm nityabad. I'm nowhere in that category of being into paradharma. So how do I take this text 66, what Krishna is teaching me, and how do I improve on that?
So for us, it's to be understood in this way is that love is always expressed through action. Exhibition, exhibition is very important because it strengthens your emotions. That's the way it is, right? So they, I remember once, there was a story, you might have also heard it. Prabhupada disciples, once there was a fire. It was, I think, in Australia. There was a fire, and some people were stuck in the upper floors, and the fire engine was not there yet. So the devotees, they took the Rath Yatra cloth by which they make the canopy of Jagannath. They took it out, and then they put it, and then people were jumping onto it. So what I'm saying is that love doesn't just mean the way we think it. Oh, love means that I have a loving relationship. I'm all, thinking about that person 24/7. Yeah, that's also a state. But then love has to be expressed through action, the action that you are doing right now. And that's the step that will take you to this Sarvadharman Parityaja position. And it is surely going to happen as long as we are sincerely doing it. That's the message for us to take in it, for us, beginners, neophytes like us. If you keep doing the actions with whatever sincerity, whatever seriousness that you can bring in, that is going to blossom into love eventually. That's the way we have to understand that. We cannot have love for Krishna right away. I understand that. It's not going to happen today or tomorrow. But Krishna is also, but then you have to also understand that Krishna is not necessarily waiting for that love. Krishna is waiting for our sincerity. That's all. I've said this many times in the discussions. All Krishna is looking for us is in sincerity. Then Krishna can give us everything. He can give us love. He can give us service. He can give devotion, whatever he wants to give you. So we don't wait for that. Surely we desire it. We request Krishna for it, but we cannot put a timeline to it when it's going to come. So till that it comes, we keep doing the actions in the best possible way. And that is why when we talk about strict, sincere, and seriousness is very important, because seriousness means you are absorbed in what you are doing. Millions of people might be doing Aarti every day across the world, but how many of them are genuinely relishing that? How many do they have their mind in it? That's a way of expressing love for Krishna, for us like neophytes like us. We don't have that love yet. So through action is the way I wanted to answer you, is that through action we express our love.
Got it. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And another thing was there, I just wanted to give an example, like in temples, sometimes the rules and regulations are pretty strict. And like, I just don't want to name anything or any service, but like some devotee called me and said, can she do that service? She really, really wants it. But she's in a situation where she cannot do it because there is a particular dress code that she has to wear because she's coming up from office and all. I said, I'm sorry, I know you wanted to do it, just really, really wanted, but this is the rules. So her heart was there in that service. In fact, her heart would have been more than what I would have done as a doing the Vadi Bhakti and just following the rules. I'm just comparing those things. But she could not do that because we have some rituals, some strict rules and regulations. Even though a devotee is seriously wanting to do that service, we cannot allow him to do that because you have to wear sari or blah, blah, whatever. So that is where I feel like, I seriously, today only I got a call. I said, I wish I could tell her, no, you can go and do if you're wearing clean clothes and you are clean, But obviously, there were some rules given by some folks and you cannot do that. So I feel like, seriously, Krishna was looking for love that time, right? And she would have done with so much of love that service. But then you have to put, so that is why I say, then I get little disconnected, Prabhuji. Seriously, we get more into rituals or spiritual, as you mentioned, it is love of God, right? When rituals is mixed with the love, true love, then it becomes spiritual. So sometimes even in temple become too much rituals. I don't know
Yeah.
whether you have observed that, Prabhuji, but I find sometime when I'm like doing some services, I find that thing. And I'm like, see, you get little disconnect at that time.
Yeah. So see, it's not that that person will only grow through that service, right? And we all have to work within a framework. That is why Prabhupada gave us a set of rituals. Because the moment we relax them, then it's very much like our mind, that your mind will always, like my mind says it, so, oh, why do you have to do 16 rounds every day? We will chant the whole day, like I met so many people who say, oh, we chant the whole day, we don't need these beads, we don't need, they're just fooling themselves. I'm saying the reason of rituals and is just so that our focus does not get diluted. Okay. So what happens is, when you let somebody in to do service who are not wearing the dress code, it's not making a difference. If you see it from the true platform, it doesn't make a big difference what they are wearing. But if you relax that, then you have kind of opened a door to dilute the whole process, which we don't want, because our mind is very fickle. That is why it's just why rituals exist, so that we can, so that we can maintain the process we are doing, maintain the standards we are achieving, because our mind is very fickle, it can pull us away anytime. That is why we need rituals. It's not like rituals are anything wrong. But yes, sometimes people overuse rituals. They can make those rituals more important than the purpose. That's wrong. But then, yeah, it's needed. Rituals are needed. Like Prabhupada, for example, he gave up many rituals. He was sannyasi. He was doing marriages, and he was doing he was taking care of his disciples. He was interacting with women, even though sannyasi is not supposed to do that. He was doing it. So he was changing rituals. He was not a stickler to it. But then for example, when he was in India, things were not working out for him. And even when he went to Vrindavan, the temple, the Krishna Balram Mandir, when that was inaugurated, Prabhupada called all the local Brahmins, and he talked to them, and then he arranged the inauguration process for the temple. Like, this will be the fire yajna, this will that. And somebody asked him later, Prabhupada, why did you do that? So he said that if I don't present it, these guys will not give us that the honor that we should have, which Krishna Balram should have. So sometimes rituals have to be maintained so that the whole process doesn't get diluted. People don't start taking you casually. People don't start just doing whatever they feel like. That is why rituals are needed. But then, as an intelligent devotee can modify rituals. But then I'm not in that position, so I cannot comment. But I just give you an example of Prabhupada. He changed rituals as he needed them. In India, if you tell somebody that pizza is a prasadam, they will laugh if you go to a local Indian temple. But no, Prabhupada made it as prasadam. So yes, we can change rituals, but then that's not for us to do it. That's for very advanced devotees to do it. They can do it. So yeah, rituals are needed so that we don't, just get diverted from our process.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, I understand it can be sometimes be tricky, and also it can hurt people. Sometimes people become very serious about this rituals. I know. I had a devotee once who came to a temple, and that devotee was just very harshly scolded because she entered a room that she was not supposed to enter. I think she didn't even enter the room. She just looked into the room, and she was scolded and said, "Oh, this is not a place for you. Get out!" And so she felt very bad, and she talked to Shama Bhakti, and Shama Bhakti explained it to her. Yeah, sometimes people can get too austere also about it, which is also not right. There has to be a balance in rituals also. But at the end of the day, yeah, rituals are needed so that we may not lose track of the process. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
You're welcome. Okay. So let's go to the 68th verse. This is a very good verse for all of you, because you all are doing this job. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. What a beautiful verse. All the services you do, all of you, temple services, book distribution, preaching, even family, taking care of family is also a service to Krishna when you see your family as Krishna. So we all, it's Krishna is clearly saying that pure devotional service is guaranteed for us. When it will happen, that's something Krishna will figure out, but it's guaranteed for us. So we get that we reach the level of paradharma when we give it to others. So preaching is a part of sadhana. When we speak about Krishna, it pleases Krishna, and it purifies us also. And then Krishna blesses us with advanced devotion. And the reason that I have thought about this verse many a times, and I realized that the reason Krishna is very happy with the people who spread his message is because he is bound, right? Krishna is bound because he's like he has given free will to everybody. So now he cannot force himself on others. He'll say, okay, if Krishna comes and starts forcing us, no, you all do bhakti. Then we will say at the end, oh, Krishna, you didn't give us the full freedom. No, I think you have tricked us. But when a devotee goes, then Krishna becomes very happy because the devotee is doing Krishna's job, which Krishna himself cannot do because of the restriction of that free will that he has put in. So he becomes very happy that a devotee is doing something that he is not able to do. So that's why Krishna becomes very happy about this, right? So and then another thing is that Krishna using the word devotees. So the question can come, okay, why only to be shared with devotees? So here the word devotees refer to people who are devotionally inclined or interested. So if people are not devotionally inclined or interested, when you give this message to somebody, the envy will be generated in their heart. And this will further alienate the person away from it. Right? It's for protection. That is why Krishna is saying, only give it to those whom you see are inclined and interested. One very clear principle that we have for book distribution is that whenever we out on the street, we always say hello to others. And when we say hello, if the other person reciprocates, gives us a smile, then we approach them and we show them the book. But if the other person doesn't even respond to my hello, I will not go and run after that person. We never do that. So that's a very basic fundamental principle of book distribution, is that first thing, you say hello, shake a hand, just wave your hand. The person might wave back to you, might smile to you, and then you can, and have an eye contact. Then you can. So they have some inclination in their heart that the super soul sitting within their heart says, hey, this guy looks nice. Why will you talk to them? So that's the meaning of the word devotees here. That's why Krishna is saying it's not about depriving somebody of it. It's more about protecting them, because if you give a knowledge to somebody that's just going to bewilder them, they will get envious of it. Right? So when you love somebody, when you hear their glories, your affection towards that person will increase. But if you're envious of someone, and when we hear their glories, then our envy increases. So devotee is not used here for somebody who's a serious sadhaka. No, that's not here. So refers to somebody whose heart is open to hear the spiritual, about the spiritual path, right? So in the 9th chapter, the first verse, Krishna uses the word anasuyave. So anasuyave for Arjuna. Anasuyave means that he was interested and inclined to listen. Even till the 10th chapter, Arjuna had not fully realized bhakti. It's only the 10th chapter, 12, 13 verse when he came, oh yeah, Krishna, now I understand you as the Supreme. Before that, he had his doubts. So, but still, Krishna was speaking to him because Arjuna was anasuyave. Right? And also in the 4th chapter, Krishna says, you are my bhakta. Bhakta si me sakha cheti. That the reason I'm speaking this to you is because you're my sakha, you're my friend, you're my devotee. You have that mindset. So the point is not is that because envious will become more envious. So we don't tell them to that. So we always look for the right fruit whenever we go out for preaching purposes. That's why Krishna is using the word devotees here. It's not for a serious sadhaka. So whenever we do any such service, then we get purified in many ways. When we go for book distribution, I have had many instances where people have, I'm showing them a book and they don't even stop. They just pass away as if I don't even exist, and that kills my the pride that I have in my heart. So every service we do, and not just book distribution, any service we do, it all kills our pride, and it kind of pushes us towards devotional service. And Prabhupada is saying, anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it will advance in devotional activities and reach the pure devotional state of life. All Prabhupada is saying, try sincerely. We have to just be sincere. I might not know everything about Bhagavad Gita. There might be verses I don't even fully understand. But then I'm sincere. I'm genuinely trying to serve Krishna, and then Krishna appreciates that. So, 69. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. See, Krishna is saying. So, Krishna is saying in future, no one will be more dear who spreads this knowledge. So, just imagine how dear this person is to Krishna, right? So, it's not like Krishna is just giving a sentimental declaration. Oh, Arjun, oh, leave everything, Arjun, come to me, I'll take care. No, Krishna is not just saying that. He's showing that, he's very eager for everybody to come to him, and how much he appreciates this effort that devotees are putting. And what does it mean that no one is more dear to him? In the devotional world, in the spiritual world, in the material world, there's this, when I was growing up, I heard this many times that people would say, oh, there's very limited space on the top. It could be anything, corporate ladder or job or whatever it may be. So, but then in bhakti, there's a lot of space on top. Everybody can come and stand there. So everybody can be perfect because we all are unique in ourselves. Right? So that is why in the spiritual world, there are many bests. There's not just one best. Right? It doesn't mean that other services than preaching are not dear to Krishna. No, they're also very dear to Krishna. Every service is precious to Krishna. So Krishna is only seeing how much service attitude we have. Right? So, and also preaching is not just done on the Vyasasana. Right? Preaching is also about inspiring others to come to Krishna. And we inspire others not just by our speech, we inspire how we behave, how we dress ourselves, how we talk to others, how tolerant we are about things. That all is preaching. So action is also important. Words are important, but action is also important. People don't generally care how much we know, but they always can remember how much we care for them. So any action that inspires someone to come closer to Krishna is preaching. And even if you're not bringing people to Krishna, you might be just talking to somebody and just clearing their doubts. Many times sometimes they ask me, oh, why to go to the temple? Krishna is everywhere. So, I give them an answer, and sometimes that misconception goes away. Sometimes it does not. And when it goes away, that's also service, because I'm removing the blockades that they have from coming to Krishna. I'm not necessarily preaching that. I'm just removing some misconceptions they have. So that's also preaching. And preaching doesn't mean just getting people to chant also. As I said, it means bringing people closer to Krishna. So whenever we all are teaching, and all of you are working with many newcomers, and you're teaching them, we should not feel, oh my God, I think I failed because this person didn't start chanting 16 rounds. No, your service was very, very valuable for Krishna. If the other person's karma is not there, you cannot force it on that person. But your effort was sincere, and Krishna saw that. And he made a tick mark in the book. Oh, this person, he did very good service. And you became closer to Krishna. So Prabhupada, right? Prabhupada would speak about Krishna whole day with whoever used to come to meet him. And at night, Prabhupada, when he would write his books, what is he doing? He's speaking to people who didn't come to meet him by writing his books. So that's the beauty. Yeah? So it's beautiful that such a person is very dear to Krishna.
Very powerful word you said just now, Prabhuji, about Prabhupada talking about Krishna and then writing for the people who did not come to him. That's beautifully explained. Yeah.
Even 50 years from 50, 60 years, Prabhupada has been gone. People just reading his books and knowing Prabhupada.
Right.
And that's the beauty, right? So imagine that our generation still has access to Prabhupada disciples, people who had actually met Prabhupada. Just imagine the next generation, all these Prabhupada disciples are getting old, and we see every year so many of them leave their bodies. And probably in the next decade, couple of decades, nearly all of the Prabhupada disciples would have been gone. How are newcomers going to know about this through Prabhupada's books?
Yeah.
So that's what Prabhupada is speaking to them. Prabhupada is preaching to them. He'll continue to preach to them with, Prabhupada said for the next 10,000 years, it's a golden age. So Prabhupada will continue to preach to them. So that's the beauty of this process. Okay, 70. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. It's a, where's that? Krishna is saying, Dharmayam Samvadam. It's a dharmic, Dharmayam is sacred, Samvadam is conversation. So it's a dharmic conversation. So, and why is it a dharmic conversation? Because it's a conversation about supreme dharma. And what Krishna means by here is that practicing by intelligence. What we all are doing is, we are reading Bhagavad Gita regularly. When we keep reading the Bhagavad Gita regularly, when we keep practicing and taking in the knowledge, we get wisdom. Practice plus knowledge makes it to wisdom. That's the equation, if you want, right? Practice plus knowledge equals to wisdom. And what happens is that when we keep reading the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will sometimes put us in challenging situations, and we will be forced to apply the principles of Bhagavad Gita there. And then we will realize that. Then we will be actually practicing Bhagavad Gita. You all might be facing this at work, in personal life, professional life, all these challenges. And then you will sometimes start, oh no, Krishna told me to be tolerant. Okay, so I'll be tolerant with this person. That's what it means, that you are worshipping Krishna by your intelligence. That's what it means. So hearing Bhagavad Gita means worshipping Krishna by intelligence. And our intelligence becomes strong in purpose when we read. Then we start looking at Bhagavad Gita not different from Krishna. And when we open our heart to the instructions of Krishna, then Krishna will tell us what to do at the right time. Pure devotees, senior devotees, they can directly feel and experience this illumination. We also feel it, but now and then, okay, sometimes, once in a year, sometimes a incident happens, and then, oh yeah, that was Krishna. So, but pure devotees, they directly feel it all the time. So because they have been hearing Bhagavad Gita, they have been realizing it, they have been applying it in their lives. And by that time, they have come to a position where Krishna from within the heart is so clearly speaking to them that they're free, fearless. They're just doing it. Okay, I know Krishna is telling me, I'll do it. I don't care what the world outside tells me. So that's what Krishna means here by intelligence, by his intelligence. 71. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. Okay. So now in the earlier verse, what was it? Studying means reading. Okay. So reading this sacred tradition. And now this is listening. So Krishna is basically, he's giving a descending ladder of mercy. He's saying, okay, good. You read it. Okay, you can't read it, at least listen. So Krishna is just expanding the mercy. He's so eager for people to come to him. He's saying, if you can't listen, if you can't read it yourself, listen to at least somebody. So he's increasing the mercy at every step. Right? And the elevated planets that are being talked about here is referring to Dhruva Loka. I think Prabhupada mentions this in the purport. Let me point that out. Yeah, those who are righteous in performing devotional service, but who are not pure, can attain the planetary system of the pole star or Dhruva Loka, where Dhruv Maharaj is residing. Okay. So this is at the, so as you all know from Bhagavata, Dhruv Maharaj got his own planet because initially he was desiring a kingdom bigger than his grandparent. So Krishna gave him a planet of his own. So Prabhupada is explaining here that people, they're not pure devotees yet, but they just are listening with faith. They don't have envy towards Krishna, and eventually they'll become free from sinful reactions, and then they will attain a pious place, like Dhruv Loka. So Dhruv Loka does not get only when Brahma dies is when the Dhruv Loka is kind of completely dissolved. It does not, because this 17 planetary systems, whenever the whole cycle finishes, then this planetary systems, at least most of them, go away. And then when and Brahma dies, then obviously the whole this whole planetary system goes away. But for Dhruva Loka, that only happens when Brahma dies. It doesn't happen when Brahma sleeps during the day or sleeps during the night. But when for us, our material planets, they dissolve when Brahma sleeps at night.
So complete annihilation, right, Prabhu?
complete annihilation. When Brahma dies after 100 years of his life, that's when the Dhruva Loka is finished.
So, but when the living entity go to the Dhruv Loka, anyway, they'll come back, right? After they have completed their pious activity quota, right?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. See, anywhere in any planetary system, there is always a way open for us to go forward. It's not that we always have to come back. For example, when we are in this Bhulok, right? From Bhulok, we all can go to, Bhuva Swarga Loka. And you can come back from Swarga for sure. But then above Swarga, there is, Mahar Loka, there is Jana Loka, Tapa Loka. There, devotees are more serious about bhakti process. They are more sincere. So from there, they can go directly back to Krishna. They don't have to necessarily come down. From Swarga Loka, yes, mostly we come down because Swarga Loka is a planet where there's a lot of enjoyment, sense gratification. But the planets that are higher than that, they're not necessarily that sense gratification. But then it's not a fixed rule that they will surely go away. They can also come down into the material world again, into the Bhuloka. So what I'm trying to say is that it eventually boils down to the person's intention. Yes. So if our intention is pure, from anywhere we can progress towards Krishna. Right? If you have read the Brad Bhagavatamrita, Gopa Kumar travels all over the world. He goes to he's made the king of Jagannath Puri. From Jagannath Puri, he goes to Swarga Loka. There Indra leaves and he becomes a king of Indra Loka. Then from Indra Loka, he goes to Ayodhya Puri. From Ayodhya, he goes to so he goes all the way, right? But because his heart was never satiated, never happy, because he was looking for his Gopal, who was a cowherd boy. So that only comes when he reaches Golok Vrindavan. And it's a very beautiful episode if you read it, where what this says that when Gopakumar reaches Golok Vrindavan, he looks, this looks like a normal place. These guys are engaged in some work. Yeah, the place is beautiful. They've got beautiful palaces and okay. But all of them are engaged in some work or the other. But then immediately he notices that everybody suddenly becomes excited and they start running towards the forest. And they all are just going wild. And then he realizes that Krishna is coming back home from the forest. And Krishna sees him. He sees Gopakumar and Krishna comes running to Gopakumar. And Krishna actually faints when he sees Gopakumar. And so beautiful story of that. But yes, what I was saying is that it's within the desire of the living entity, which way we go.
Okay, because I was under the misconception, Prabhuji, when you go to heavenly planets like Swargloka, based on your good karma, whatever good deeds you have done, when that is expires, whatever good you have done, then you come back to the Prithvi Loka.
Yeah, you come back. It's see, as I said, it's not a hard and fast rule. You cannot say that because our free will is always there, whichever loka you are in. So even people who are in the Swarga, where there is extreme sense gratification, they can also progress towards Krishna. Yeah, Krishna might do a slight detour for them, probably, or you are even like Vaikuntha, right? From Vaikuntha they fell down, Jay and Vijay. So they also took a detour, then they went back to Golok Vrindavan. So these detours here and there can happen. That's okay, no problem. But eventually it boils down to the desire of the person. From Swargaloka also people progress upwards. It's not that every 100% people have to come back. But that's the general thing. It's not a rule. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because we keep hearing, right? This discussion keep happening in so many lectures, and we keep hearing even the devtas, want to come to the Prithvi Loka because here it is so easy to perform the devotional service.
Yeah,
so
it is easy. Yes, you're right. But as I said, it's not a rule. It's the probability is very, very high because when you have immense sense gratification, you might just get fooled, bewildered. But there are people who can overcome it, even in this material world, right? Prabhupada came to this country, 1970s, free world, colonies, people roaming about naked. Prabhupada came, he was a pure devotee. It didn't affect him, but he affected other people and they became pure devotees. So the free will is very important.
So Prabhu, one last thing, so in this Prithvi Loka, right? We have Mahamaya, the Durga, who is the guard of our prison. So in the Swargloka also, because obviously illusion would be high because sense gratification is so high, ignorance would be there also, right? In the Devloka also, right? So is there Mahamaya there also, which I have not heard, but I just wanted to clarify from you. Because as you said, right, there is so much of influence of sense gratification there also because there is so much more than what we have in our Prithvi Loka. So how, so are they also in the mode of like their ignorance and illusion is there also? That is why they are not
Yes,
able to.
yes, it's there. It's there. If you read, I won't go
Mm.
through it in detail, but if you read the 10th canto, sorry, 10th canto, first chapter, after, so 10th canto, first chapter, after the end of the first chapter, Prabhupada gives a very detailed description of Yog Maya and Mahamaya.
Got it.
And you can read that, and that'll give you a very clear picture of what those two energies are. That how in the spiritual world, that
Yeah.
Maya converts to, towards this, in this world it bewilders us. In the spiritual world, it actually, you know uh, makes people love Krishna more. So it's different, but yeah, you can get more details about it in there. In
Thank you,
the
sir.
After the 10th canto, first chapter, there is an extra section. I think Prabhupada calls it additional notes or something like that. So read that. That'll give
Super.
you
Thank
clarity
you.
about both those mayas. Okay, yes, thank you. 72. O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? Krishna is really feeling, oh my God, I don't know whether this guy's fully understood it or not. So Krishna is saying, no, no, please tell me. If you have not, I'll recite the whole Bhagavad Gita again to you. Prabhupada says this, I think, in the purport. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain any point of the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. That is the love Krishna has. He's so desperate. And here I am, Krishna, you stay out of my life. I'm happy. Here, towards the end, we are seeing the love of Krishna that he has for the living entities. So yeah. So the Bhagavad Gita has jewels, right? So jewels are in the what do you call it? In the 6 chapters in the middle, right? We call it about bhakti. There are first 6 chapters about karma, the last 6 chapters jnana. So that's a treasure. Right? So till now, Arjun has been asking all the questions, but here Krishna is questioning Arjun. Right? Listening attentively is not enough. Illusion and ignorance both are the problem. That is why Krishna is asking both the things. Illusion and ignorance, has it gone away? It's not just illusion that has gone away, or just ignorance that has gone away. No, both the things have to go. So not knowing the right thing is ignorance. And thinking the right to be wrong is illusion, a wrong perception. So that is why both the things are needed. So ignorance just means that I don't know what is right. But then illusion means I think the wrong thing is the right one. That's even worse, right? So illusion is even worse than ignorance. So both of them are wrong. So Krishna is ready to speak the whole Bhagavad Gita again if Arjuna is not understood. Because Krishna is concerned about our welfare. And this is his love for us. So, 73. Arjuna. Now Arjuna is giving the last statement. Karishe vachanam tava. I'll do as you want, Krishna. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. The 73rd verse. These are Arjuna. So Arjuna in the first verse, when he addressed Krishna, he said, Krishna, was it? Take me in the middle of the two armies. And if you remember, he used the word Achyuta. He calls Krishna Achyuta there. And here also Krishna calls Arjun Achyuta. Sorry, Arjun calls Krishna Achyuta, Maya Achyuta. It's a beautiful way. Arjun has used the same word he used for both those times. The first verse he talked to Krishna, and the last verse he talked to Krishna. So now he's saying, yes, everything is dispelled, and I'm prepared to act according to your instructions. So Bhagavad Gita is not a book just about philosophy. Bhagavad Gita is a call for a practical change. Okay. A patient has to cooperate with doctor's prescription. You just cannot praise the doctor and you'll get okay. No, you have to follow the prescription also. So real knowledge is shown through implementation. Even Bible says that, let thy will be done, not mine. So So Prabhupada says in this purport somewhere, where is that? What was this sentence? I don't know if I've marked it or not. So yes. So to study Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna factually. That's what Bhagavad Gita does. We are able to understand Krishna. Then Krishna becomes a reality in our lives when we study Bhagavad Gita. So this is the pinnacle of surrender, as you will see. I'll do your will. Don't ask why this, but ask how now. How is to be. Right? When we try to become enjoyers, it's very disempowering. It leaves us as the mercy of the condition necessary for that enjoyment. But becoming a servant is very empowering because our service can continue in all conditions. That freedom we all have. You all can do some service in every situation. I still remember many years ago, and I might have told this. There is this Mataji I knew, and she had third-degree burns. The cooker, she was cooking something, and the cooker just blasted out, and she had third-degree burns on her body, and she was lying in the hospital, and we couldn't enter her room because you have to have a sterile environment because infection prone. Your protective layer is gone, skin, and all I could see from outside that her hand was hanging out and she was chanting. So service is what we all can do. And it's very, very empowering. By becoming a servant, we can continue our service in every condition, and that makes it perfect. So Prabhupada is saying when a person is in full knowledge, he surrenders to Krishna. Okay, some verses by Sanjay now. I think he's wrapping up. Sanjay is the author. So I want to finish this chapter if possible. And see. Okay. Sanjay comes in. Sanjay said, "Thus I have heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. And so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end." So, as we all know, Mahabharata was narrated by Vyasa to, who was that? Son of Parikshit, right? Janmajaya, right? And within that narration, Sanjay is narrating to Dhritarashtra. And within that conversation is Arjuna and Krishna's conversation. So it's like the movie Inception, a dream within a dream. So it's a conversation within a conversation within a conversation. So the word he's uses here is Mahatmana. So he's saying that Mahatma. So he's saying great soul. So he's referring to Mahatma is used to refer to devotees like Krishna. 11th chapter, the word Mahatma was used, referred by Krishna. Now Sanjay is calling Arjuna and Krishna both Mahatma. So, but in general, Mahatma means one who has surrendered to Krishna. So, but then we as being neophytes, we also can become Mahatma by surrendering to the pure devotees. So a small soul like me can also become big one day when I surrender to big souls, right? So here there's this Roma Harshana, making the hair stand on end. So Roma Harshana can happen when you are very fearful or when you are very happy. This verse was also used by Krishna in the first, not by Krishna, I think it was by Sanjay itself. First chapter also, where Roma Harshana was used to show how Arjun was fearful. Here Roma Harshana is because of happiness. So, Sanjay, Prabhupada tells us that Sanjay is a devotee, but then Dhritarashtra was not. So Dhritarashtra couldn't understand everything, even though he was listening from Sanjay directly. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. So even Sanjay would give very good counsel to Dhritarashtra. Right? Therefore, Vyasa gave us a special vision to Sanjay. So here the word Vyasa Prasada is used. Vyasa Prasada. So Vyasa Prasada not only refers to vision provided by Vyasa to Sanjay, it also means the understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra was not Vyasa Prasada, even though he was also getting to hear exactly what was happening on the battlefield. But then the vision And the understanding of Bhagavad Gita was given by Vyasa to Sanjaya. And therefore, this whole philosophy is called Guhyam, Guhya Param. Even though you might hear it, but it might not even change a bit in your life, right? Because the mercy was not there and your sincerity was not. So, and this is I think he uses Guhyam. Again, the word Guhyam, as we've been knowing, that Guhyam is secret, confidential. So it's Guhyam because has been spoken by Lord himself. So we are seeing Sanjaya's gratitude and appreciation here. That's what he's generally expressing. And there's a beautiful thing that I love in this, and this is a very interesting thing. And spiritual master is the transparent medium. Although it's true that the experience is still direct. I love this phrase, transparent medium. What the word transparent medium means, transparent, right? The word transparent means you can see through it. That's what transparent means. So what does it mean? Can I see through my spiritual master? And what would I see? When I see my spiritual master and I see through him, I will see the whole disciplic succession behind it. Because he has not moved an inch from what he is teaching. All these pure devotees we see, all these Maharajs, sannyasis, all these, they are all transparent medium because they have not moved an inch from what Prabhupada has taught them. And Prabhupada has not moved an inch from what his guru taught. And Bhakti Saraswati Thakur has not moved an inch from what Bhaktivinoda Thakur taught him. And so forth, going all the way back to Krishna. That is why a spiritual master is a transparent medium. So it's a very beautiful thing. And we all have to be transparent. If my ego, my pride comes into the picture, then that transparency will go away. It will become opaque. Because I brought in my own principles in that. Nah, that's not what Krishna wants us to do. And then Prabhupada says, although it is true that the experience is still direct. So even though you're listening from your spiritual master, but it's similar as if you're listening from Krishna directly. The experience will be still direct. So that's the beauty. That's the mysticism of this process. It's the beauty of this process. Yeah. So spiritual master makes available the systematic philosophical knowledge. And that makes our spiritual potential reachable. And you can say across Bhagavatam also, spiritual master is glorified for this very reason, because he gives us the spiritual potential. He delineates the path of devotion for us that enables us to easily reclaim our spiritual freedom. Okay. 11th canto, one of my favorite, Nirdeha Madhyam, Sulabam Sudurlabam, Lavam Sukalpam, Guru Karnadhara, Mayanupulena Bhasvateditam, Uman Bhavabdi, Nataret Satman. So there the Guru is like the captain of your ship, Nirdeha Madhyam. And then many places, Bhagavatam is replete with these kind of things. Narada talking to Yudhishthira in the 7th canto, he also says, Yasya Shakshat Bhagavati. And we say this every morning, right? We sing prayers to Guru. Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasada. But when I get mercy of my Guru is when I get mercy of Krishna. So yes, spiritual master is glorified everywhere. Then that's what Vyasadeva is doing, showing his appreciation. And this verse, mysticism, I always find this verse very interesting. So who's a mystic? So mystic is somebody who gains insight into mysteries which are transcending ordinary human knowledge. So that's why it's mystic. The word mystic and mystery, they both have the same root into it. So somebody who can gain insight into mysteries is a mystic, right? Which is beyond common knowledge. That's why the person is called mystic, right? And how do they do that? By their direct communication with the divine, in a state of spiritual ecstasy. Prabhupada would always say that Krishna is the one who's telling me what to write in my books. So that's the spiritual ecstasy coming from Krishna himself. Right? So yeah, that's what the word mysticism. Right? Then there is mystic potency. We have the example of Draupadi, the sari. That was a mystic potency of Krishna, his universal form, and his Krishna's form. So yeah. So mysticism, that's what mysticism is. Okay, 76. O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. So he's remembering again and again. Sanjay is taking pleasure. Right? Uh, our thoughts generally, they dwell on enjoyable worldly objects. Right? But then we know that in this material world, whatever we try to enjoy, we always suffer in one or the other ways. It either it's not attainable to us. I can desire, but it's not attainable. I might attain it, but I might not be able to enjoy it. Right? Rich people, they become billionaires, but they cannot eat good food because now their gastric system doesn't support it. In some cases, you might be able to enjoy it, but you might not be able to retain it. So these three things are always there. Either it's not attainable but not enjoyable, enjoyable but not retainable. Our job ends with retirement always. So it's all that. So whenever our thoughts are in this material world, we feel restless, helpless. We feel like I'm still missing something. I'm impoverished. Right. So that is why Gita doesn't want us to dwell a lot on thoughts, on material thoughts. Right. So that's why he's saying that but in here case, because this is about spiritual nature, he's taking pleasure at every step. The pleasure is always increasing in this case, right? So the result of reading Bhagavad Gita should be an internal transformation. When Krishna spoke to Arjuna, his heart changed, right? But then Sanjay spoke to Dhritarashtra, but his heart did not change.
Right? Yeah.
So Sanjay is saying that he's thrilled when he spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. So it's just not a conversation. The conversation, through the conversation comes revelation. Even though external results were not there, Dhritarashtra did not change. There was internal success because Sanjay's heart was filled with joy. So that was the success of this. So that's why he's enjoying it. The result of Krishna consciousness is that one becomes increasingly enlightened and he enjoys life with a thrill, not only for some time, but at every moment. So in the material world, we get satiated. One day we like something, like we go to a store, we buy new clothes, we love them for a day or two. Within a year, they are in the donation box of Salvation Army. So, but then with bhakti, that's not happen. Bhakti, we keep relishing more and more, more and more. It's not like you do one service today and somebody pulls you out and says, "Oh no, you have to do this service." That you start, forget about the other service. No, you still relish that service. But now you have another service. So now those two services bring more relishment to you. So that's increasing always. It's always increasing in nature. 77. O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoiced again and again. So, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I'm struck with him. So here, Sanjay is referring to the Vishwarupa he saw, because we read, right, there were many verses that Sanjay also spoke in the 11th chapter, and which were referring. He was also very impressed. He was just looking at when he saw the Vishwarupa. So he's struck with wonder more and more. There are no new pleasures at the bodily level. In bhakti, even though it may seem we are doing the same activity, but we get joy. Not because of the newness of the activity, but due to the newness of the person we are connected. Krishna is ever fresh. He is supremely attractive. And he keeps revealing the attractiveness more and more to the devotees. And as his revelation becomes more and more, we start appreciating his beauty more and more. That's what it means by that it keeps increasing every time. That's what it means by that part. In material world, that does not happen. We can only generate so much pleasure from anything. It's not like it's unlimited. But with Krishna, he keeps revealing it to us. Today, I might not fully relish Krishna. I might see Bhagavad Gita as a book. But if I keep reading it, probably sometime, if I'm lucky in this life or probably in the next, I might start seeing Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So now Krishna has revealed himself more to me. So that keeps increasing. So Dhritarashtra was not changed after hearing Bhagavad Gita. Arjun was changed. Difference was that Arjun was submissive. Dhritarashtra was inquisitive but not submissive. Right? So what was the verse? Pariprasnena sevaya. Fourth chapter. What was that? 34th verse, I think. Yeah. So one of the qualities were pariprasnena sevaya. So pariprasnena is inquisitiveness. Right? Dhritarashtra was attached to his son. So when we do service, the purpose is purity, not popularity. When we serve Krishna by this attitude, we become pure. And then our revelations become more. And I think Prabhupada points out one thing in here, which I was going to. Is it the, I think it was not this verse, I might be mistaken. So, okay. So the last verse of the chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matirma. Whenever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, wherever there is Arjun, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So Arjun picked up his bow and arrow and he started to fight. That represents the living entity's determination to serve Krishna. Right? By seeing this world, prataksha, you can see this what's going on in this world. Right? And you know, sometimes prataksha can also lead to our determination going down, because we'll see what other people are enjoying so much, or this person is so happy. But then, you know, initially when Arjun was doing prataksha anuman, that why should I kill them, you know, and the result was that determination was lost. So if our hearing becomes irregular, our whole devotional service will become boring. Arjun, in the first chapter, we saw Arjun was giving all these explanations from Shastra and so forth. But then that led to his determination going away. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he picked up his bow and arrow again. Okay. So our determination, which has gone away because of the so much sensory exposure from this material world, can be brought back by hearing Shabda. Okay. So whenever there will be miracle working Lord and a determined devotee, there will be victory. That's how we understand this word. And Prabhupada is an example for all of us. Right? So implication of Dhritarashtra's question about who won, Sanjay is saying that wherever there is Arjun and Krishna. So Shri can also refer to goddess of fortune, but then so Sanjay is actually answering Arjun's Dhritarashtra's question. That you know, wherever there is Arjun, wherever there is Krishna, your sons can never win. Nobody can win. Yeah. So that's the essence. You know, that wherever there is a pure, determined devotee, and there is the Lord who is doing his miracles through the devotee, there's always the victory. So sometimes people say, "Oh, Krishna was cunning. You know, he used unfairness." There is no unfairness. With the cunning, one can become cunning. Nobody is stopping us from doing that. So, by proper use of our independence, we come under the direct order of Krishna. That's our true nature. And Prabhupada says a very good, he says what's the instruction? Last instruction, Prabhupada makes that point that's the law. Yeah, so say, all other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process, but the last instruction of Gita is the last word in all morality and religion. Surrender unto Krishna. That's the last verse of it. So Bhagavad Gita starts 2.7. Karpanya dosho kahata subhava. That I don't know what is the dharma, Arjun. Oh, Krishna, you tell me. So 2.7. 2 to 6 chapter. Don't renounce action, but do with detachment. 6th chapter, if you are sufficiently mature, you don't go to the forest. But topmost yoga is still bhakti. Yogi is still bhakti. 8th chapter, Krishna brings things Ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga. 9th chapter talks of bhakti. 10th chapter, concentrated essence of bhakti and vibhutis. He talks of different vibhutis. Right? 11th chapter, he helps us to understand the supremacy of Krishna by showing his universal. 12th chapter, it is conclusively established. Personal form is better than impersonal. And the last 6 chapters talk of Jnana Yoga. Right? And but then again, Krishna says this can only be understood by bhakti. Right? And then 13th chapter, we remember, right? Bhukte Bhokjate, that Bhukte was there, that the enjoying tendency is there in the living entity. And that's why we are all kind of stuck here. Right? And then in the 15th chapter, he talks about that inverted tree. 16th chapter, the extremes of the tree. 17th chapter, who are in the middle of the tree. And 18th is a summary. So that's the whole Bhagavad Gita. And I think Prabhupada talks about here, which is, what was that? Prabhupada was talking about Achinta Bhed Bhed Tattva also, I think he brings out here. Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and difference. This system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. So the Achinta Bhed Bhed Tattva is the philosophy that the Lord is simultaneously one and different from his creation. Right? So in Lord Chaitanya taught that to us through the chanting process. He taught that the holy name of the Lord is the sound incarnation of Lord. And since the Lord is the absolute whole, there is no difference between his holy name and his transcendental form. So thus, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can directly associate with the Supreme Lord by sound vibration. So that's Achinta Bhed Bhed Tattva. So, and I think that philosophy we'll also discuss more in the Nectar of Devotion when we come to Achinta Bhed Bhed Tattva. But that's the essence, that simultaneously oneness and Krishna, which kind of brings in everything. Impersonal form is also there, the personal form is also there. So, okay, that ends our Bhagavad Gita. Finally, we've completed it, gone through every single verse, used our intelligence, and we are progressing on our path because we are sincerely trying. That's it. Thank you very much.